Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on my journey through the constraints-led approach for grappling. My name is Sam Battlefields, and this morning I was given the opportunity to take the Wednesday class, which was gold because nobody rocked up to Tuesday class. So I was sitting there by myself, which is fine. These things happen. And when I am talking about having created a class plan or a representative class design, designed practice, that's it, representative design practice. When I have spoken about this in the past, I've probably made it seem like I've been very, very rigid in how I've set up the class, when in reality, I have a framework that I work within, and I've spoken about it yesterday, and I've spoken about it in the past, where it's like the 20, 20, 60%, and the 20% is, say, takedowns, or is one portion of the three parts of the ecosystem that is grappling, so standing, control, and guard, and depending on what the theme of the week is, 60% will go to that theme. Today that went a little bit out the window, and part of the reason is because it was a takedown. It was takedown week, so it's takedown week at the moment. Again, I will be reviewing our curriculum for this, but being that it is takedown week, that we have interspersed twice throughout sort of I think it's about a 20-week rotation. But given that it is this this takedown week, I started to do the class based on the standing, but then I thought, well, I'll come back. So I evolved it, I think, in a backwards way, but I still wanted the warm-up to be stand-up. I think that there is a difference between jumping straight into grappling cardio versus standing cardio. This could be all nonsense, by the way, on my behalf. However, I feel like getting the blood pumping when you're standing gives me a much easier chance of getting into the class quicker. And I felt it today. Maybe it's because it's an easier entry with what I've been doing. However, what I looked to do today was literally just kind of boxing. So shoulder touch, torso touch. So shoulder touch, 2 points. And Aaron and I were going, but because of the constraints I put on it now, where it has to be a full palm and it can't be blocked, so you can't get like a full palm. Can't get a full palm but have been hit. It makes it really, really difficult to score. So I just put on a timer, and I'm taking sort of cues from, I think, Scott from Primal, and maybe I'm taking the wrong cues here, or maybe I'm misinterpreting. However, the sparring that came out of that, I felt was more flowy, was more less sort of focused on the points, and more focused on, okay, well, how do I get in through these gaps? And I think it just opened it up a little bit more in that respect. So from now on, with regards to straight boxing constraint stuff, I will, I think, time it, versus if it's something like Quidditch where you can get the golden snitch, that's when I'll do more point-based systems. So it's funny how that's flowed back in. But secondary, the next, and fortunately I took some video, but the next game was this one.
The goal of this game is the person to get chest to chest on top, or the person at the bottom to get a double enclosure and a secondary control. Essentially, for any of those splits.
So the primary control and the secondary control, essentially what we were looking for is the person on top, as I said, chest to chest. The person on the bottom was attempting to get some sort of control of the person on top. I found that this game was really good for me. The reason why I played this was because we did quite a bit of guard work last week and the week before, so I wanted to make sure that sort of flowed through in our practice, in order to the interleaving stuff that I spoke about yesterday, and sort of retrieval, getting us to retrieve it, getting the students to think about what has been done recently, recall what they've been doing recently, and go for that. One thing that did come up with Brad, and we really focused on Brad today, which was actually really cool. In this case, Brad's made the point that he was like, I just go for the one thing that I know that I'm pretty good at, which essentially, when it doesn't pull off, I've got nothing. So I tried to reiterate that he's in a safe space, essentially. You can try you're more than welcome to refine your A game, but in this case, if you're recognizing that you're just going to your A game and then it's not working, well, maybe you need to try something else. And he recognised that, and I thought that was a really cool little piece of things. So, yeah, the next game, this is where it kind of went off track. So as I said earlier on, we played the boxing game, and what my intention was to actually come back to the takedowns. And I had a game in the brain as such, ready to go. Interestingly enough, that game was something similar to a game that Aaron had put forth, or was looking to put forth. It was so very close, but we didn't end up getting around to it, which is fine. Like that's neither here nor there. The evolution of the class occurred through this. So I'll put this on. So this was the next one.
This was meant to be the takedown class, but what we ended up doing was we were doing a control game where the game was essentially the person in mount was trying to maintain mount, and the person on the bottom was looking to get double enclosure with their thighs around a single thigh of the person who was in mount. And this actually brought some, I suppose, affordances, some questions from Brad, and some insights that I was able to, or that me and Aaron were able to address with regards to how Brad was escaping and why he was potentially finding some roadblocks along the way.
So some of the roadblocks that Brad was coming up against was he was focusing his attention on stopping the crossface, and here is where, talking about Ed Ingemels and stuff that he was saying in the Kabir Bath podcast, it was like addressing that it needed to be addressed, because he was just doing the same thing over and over and over and getting the same result, which was, okay, eventually he might get the half guard that he needed to execute the task eventually, but he was huffing and puffing, and there was no alternative for him. It was that or bust. And one of the things I tried to do with the language by saying the goal is to get both your thighs enclosed around one of their thighs. It doesn't matter which thigh. I was kind of hoping that he would be like, okay, yeah, that's something that I can I can see in front of me. But again, it just got laser focused, and he just had all of his attention to try and stop a crossface coming through, which meant that he just shut down anything he could have done with his hips, because everything that he did with his hips was all, there was no framing off it, there was no nothing. So he, everything that he did was able to be followed by myself or Aaron. And so we brought his attention to, yeah, look, maybe you need to stop worrying about the arms. And I brought it back to, even in MMA and even in a self-defense situation, if someone's in mount, okay, if they're raining down blows and they're not, you can protect yourself, keep your hands in the way, But if they're not and they're going for some other thing, you need to get your hands down there and on their hips to frame off it in order to, create so much destabilization. Just a quick word on destabilization as well. I really liked, I was in the Discord the other day, I don't know who said it, but there was a thing about destabilization, and I've always sort of thought, ever since I've heard the term, which, as if you followed this, you'll know I loved it, because it gave me an external thing to worry about, not an internal thing an external thing to affect rather than an internal thing to affect. And I found that it was a really good tool to help me. But destabilization in my head was just, unbalance, right? And in the Discord, someone said that destabilization is destabilization of the system. So that can include unbalancing, but it can include anything that destabilizes the ecosystem that is your opponent. So that could be taking their head off center so that their spine's not strong. It could be, twisting their hips one way and their shoulders the other. That's destabilization. So there's a whole range of factors that you could add into destabilization. I could be wrong on that, but that's how I really resonated with that. So if there's anything that anyone wants to say on that, I'd be keen to have either an alternative view, or if someone says, yeah, congrats man, you've confirmed the theory, or you've been affirmed, or whatever the case may be. Anyway, so destabilization happens, and you can stop someone punching you in the face, because if someone's got to be ready to hit the deck, you might cop something, yes, but you're already in mount at that stage, or they're already in mount, so you better be prepared to get the fuck out of there ASAP, right? And so we just worked on that and looking at, some alternatives that he could have gone from there. I will say, and it's not, again, not sort of an attack on Aaron, but Aaron sort of saw the opportunity to show 15 other things, and I was just like, hey, look, let's just leave it at that. The good thing is I think Out of those 15, Brad definitely picked up two of the main ones, and he wouldn't have got that second one if Aaron hadn't gone like, oh, you can do this, 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 and this. And I'm not like, I'm exaggerating. He didn't go overboard, but I would have liked to have just been like, yep, cool, you've got that. Work on that moving forward. Don't worry about the other stuff. But it's all good. I'm not upset. I reckon Brad's going to take a lot away from today. But again, it's about doing the finding the issue, finding the problem, and then identifying the solution for it, and having the solution for it brought to your attention rather than tell you what it is. Now, there was a little bit of telling him what it was, and from my perspective, I think I was able to keep it as broad as possible, as in, hey, look, you're focused up here. I would suggest looking at focusing on the hips, and here's why. And this is why I don't want to go too far into, and this is what you can do after that, and this is what you can do after that, and this is what you can do after that. Because what ends up happening is that initial powerful thing that they've learned gets lost in the ether. But what this allowed us to do was go over this area that needed sort of needed addressing, or needed more effort put into it. And that was cool because the lesson evolved because it was for him. Anyway, I am going to be on the Kabir Bath podcast tomorrow, so I'm not sure when that will be released. I'm also in talks with two massive names in ecological dynamics. I am so keen for this. I found a whole heap of papers. I've spoken to you, my audience, before about flow states and that sort of thing. That's what this is going to be about. It's going to flow states with regards to the constraints-led approach, BJJ, grappling in particular, flow states within grappling in particular. I'm hoping that you get a lot out of it. I won't release the name just yet because I want to make sure that I've got it in writing. But this one's huge. This one's another couple of academics, and I hope that I'm able to bring to you some really cool cutting edge stuff. So stick around, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comment section below. Thank you to all who have been listening to me rant. See you soon. Cheers.